self-esteem and build your own personal performance. Because the quality of your performance is the quality of how you feel when you're performing. And it doesn't matter if that's academic skills, motor skills. It's just how we work. It's the roots of the autonomic nervous system. So these are resources that everybody's expected to have and develop in the world of business. Focus, people skills, rapport building, self-drive, self-motivation, endurance, keep going with your mental resilience. When things aren't going your way, work-life balance, which is very rare in the business world, especially with business owners. Most business owners I would see on a weekly basis have had mental breakdowns, or they are addicted to something. Not just work. Yeah, not just work. Self-control, that comes from self-knowledge. Like anything, you have to practice. Vision, again, and Chuck speaks about it in his book. You know, we all start business with a vision of how our world is going to be. But then, when you're bombarded with stress and anxiety, worry and fear, the vision suddenly disappears. And if you don't know why you're doing something, you're going to look for a way out of it. And that's just the rules of how you're doing. So, let's say we have this vision going into business. We feel great, we want to have more money, more time, more toys to play with. And this vision, even young startups when they're being trained up the north with the likes of Invest NI, and they build this vision of their future. But unfortunately, they don't teach them any mental resilience or any skills to actually control their emotions. And then they have this, they're listening to other people. There's still a big myth that it's mental toughness. Then you have to be hard in business, and that leads to breakdown. I grew up in a world where you had to be tough. I grew up in boxing from the age of 12, done Thai boxing, doing martial arts for nearly 30 years as well. I've broken my ribs 3 times, I've tore every muscle in my body, I broke all my toes, fingers dislocated, I broke my cheekbone, fractured my nose many times.
You used to be good looking, did you?
Yeah, one time. And that was just, you were told to be tough and get on with it. But the things that break us down aren't tangible. They're not things that we can deal with on a physical level. They're more emotions. And stress is the biggest suppressor of your potential. And this is something that we tend to do. We're excited when we get into business. We've got this vision, and then we start multitasking. And again, Chuck in his books talks about why we do this, because we believe we're the experts and nobody can do it like us, so we don't delegate anything. We won't let go. So we start to multitask. And the way the brain works is 1, 2, 3, many. Once you start doing more than 3 things, stress starts to accumulate in the system. And when stress starts to accumulate in your nervous system, that's giving a feedback loop to the brain. I can't deal with this, because that's all stress means. If you're feeling stress, that's you communicate with yourself, I can't deal with this. You juggle all the plates, and then this is the end result. Stress will suppress everything, not just your potential, but also your immune system. And a suppressed immune system and accumulated stress, which we get used to over time, and it can end in an illness. Yeah. A lot of people, I always say, John's sick, listen to me saying it, is most people break down before the business. Business has a process, it works. A lot of other people in the same business are making it successful, but a lot of people pull out or break down, and that's why the business breaks down. not looking after the core, they're not looking after the hub of the wheel. Everything rotates around us. But because our world is mostly external, and I think you mentioned earlier, Calvin, or somebody asked you about what do you do in your day off? You have to work on yourself. You have to work on all three levels. You made up mentally, physically, and chemically. You should be detoxing, you should be drinking good water, you should be thinking about what you eat, and you should have enjoyable physical exercise. Whether it's dancing around the kitchen, whatever works for you, walking, doesn't matter. You are responsible for you. If you neglect that and you break down, you're going to be useless to the business and you're going to be useless to your family. And all your work, all the skills that you've practiced for thousands of hours, days, weeks, months, and years is all a total waste of time when your health goes. So, I don't have time to go through all the emotions. I wanted to take you through the steps of the program. As I said earlier, we all have a goal or a vision. The first thing that you will experience when you have a goal set out for you, or you set your own goal out, is a feeling. You will feel before you actually think. A lot of psychologists will tell you that you think first. You will feel first, and so we're made for survival. If I asked you to perform a skill that you're good at, you have a feeling, and that feeling tells you that you're either capable or you're not. If I give you something you've never done before, or you believe that it's outside your comfort zone, and your staff go through this as well, if they feel that they're not capable or they're confused, they will do it badly if they even attempt to do it. So the feeling always comes first. That feeling will generate internal dialogue, and it will build images of what's in front of you. So if you ask me to do something and I feel fear or self-doubt, that will remind my brain of other times I experienced that in the past when I couldn't do something, or I failed, or I let myself or others down. And then when I think about moving forward, it builds images of things going wrong, so it probably won't attempt it or do it badly. So it's working down the present, and that's where emotional intelligence comes in. It's very, very important. Knowing how you work and knowing how to work yourself. So it gets you out of the blame game, gets you out of looking for excuses externally. Why you didn't do something, or why you done it badly. Blame game's a state changer. It will make me feel good. If you ask me to do something and I do it badly, I can blame this guy, I can blame Chuck. Maybe he didn't have it in his book. Yeah? And it'll make me feel better, but it won't change the result. But if I look at me, think, well, what did I do, or what did I not do? How could I do it better the next time? And get back to basics and approach it again. Again, that's getting back to self-knowledge. Then I'll start to progress. So, first stage is, am I capable? If you have a feeling that you're not capable, that's where self-knowledge comes in. You need to remind yourself who you are and what you're capable of, until you change that feeling in your autonomic nervous system to a feeling of, do you know what, I think I can do this. Then you'll move into the second stage. Why bother? Why put the effort in? Especially when there's stress involved. You will look for a way out. So you need to have your reasons worked out, and that's why it's very, very important. And that was my favourite chapter in your book on your mission statement and your vision, but actually put your values in with it, because our values resonate with us on an unconscious level. If you don't know why you're doing something and there's pressure coming on, you will look for a way out. That's a fact. And I get that week in, week out. I work a lot with cage fighters and professional boxers, as well as different sports and arts, but they would be the high pressure ones. They need to know why they're doing it. They have to work that out. If they don't, they'll either pull out or they'll bring an injury on unconsciously before the event. The unconscious will look for a way out. It won't analyse it, it'll just bring it on. That's the way it works, or make them sick and give them a flu or something. So I'm confident that I can do that, and I've worked out my reasons why I want to do it. And there's only 3 types of human motivation. Now you will have one that will work stronger than the others, but you need to use all 3. So once you've worked that out, okay, I'm confident I can do it, and I know why I'm doing it. So what is my best strategy? So that's again back to who am I? How have I succeeded in the past? Have I overcome obstacles? What are my resources? What are my strengths? What do I value? And stop looking for secrets outside. Okay? We all have strategies for success. You can take those strategies and you can put them into new activities. And the first success strategy that you ever used as a human being was taught to you by your parents. And that's when they were teaching you how to walk. They would not have approached you until you were standing beside the furniture. You will not teach an infant how to walk when it's sitting on the floor. Once the child's standing at the furniture, then he was prepared. So the first P of success is preparation. You must have the motivation or the desire. The second P is people. You must have people to support you, to pick you up again when you fall, and to teach you the skills that you want. There must be experts in the skill. Third stage is practice. There's no shortcut with practice. You have to go through it, through the 4 stages. You'll fall over and you'll get up. You'll fall over, you'll get up. You'll fall over and get up, because there's no fear of failure as a child. You're not aware you're being judged. If you keep getting up, you will progress. As children, we know we're progressing, because every time you walk a couple of steps, everybody claps their hands and says, brilliant, well done, you get a hug. When we get older, people don't do that. So you're achieving things all the time in business, people don't care. Even when you come home and you tell your loved ones, wow, brilliant magic, yeah. They don't care, they're all tuned into themselves. So you have to give yourself that recognition. If you're not giving yourself the recognition, you're going to get bored with it, and you're going to think, well, what's the point? Why bother? You said put the effort in. Nobody cares. You have to do it for yourself. So, if you're persistent in your practice with the right people, you will progress. And when you progress, you get your sense of achievement, which makes you feel confident, which makes you feel strong, and you feel safe, and you'll keep going. Yeah? Now there's 10 P's. That was the first book I ever wrote, was the P's of Success. Can't remember what, I think I wrote it for kids groups I was working with. So, but that's one of my favourite photos. I don't know if it's on this PowerPoint. It's a long PowerPoint, it's just a history of that. People I work with and stuff I've done. That's all I work with there, that's what I specialise in. That's the yin and yang of the human body, the autonomic nervous system. Sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic, fight or flight. Yeah, in the hypertonic stage. Parasympathetic, start to calm down, relaxed. In medical hypnosis, we would use the parasympathetic a lot. It's not rocket science. Anybody can learn how to use this. There has to be balance. You can't be over relaxed. You can't be hypertonic all the time. You have to have a happy medium. And again, that just takes a bit of practice. Something you can do very easily. I teach people self-hypnosis. 10 minutes in that state is equivalent to 1 hour sleep for the body. Yeah, it's just a tool. It's not magic. It's something anybody can do. It's actually made famous by physicians in the last century. Used for surgery before the big breakthroughs in anesthetizing. So that's always looking fed. We're pleasure seekers at an unconscious level. We're always trying to feed that. Whether it's having a cup of coffee, wanting to sit somewhere, speak to a stranger, we're always trying to change a state internally. And there's certain states that we avoid. One of the biggest ones would be probably fear. If you have a process set out for somebody, and it's an ABC on how to get to their end result, if they're not doing it, then what's holding them back is a state of mind, an emotion, a vibration in their nervous system. So when you go in and you change that, then they can move forward. It's as simple as that. If you don't change it, they'll always look for a way out. They'll always procrastinate, or they'll do things badly. And this, I call my program an ABC of how the mind works. And I would pride myself in taking advanced psychology and simplifying it for a child. I've had to do that over the years because I would be flown to America and Canada a lot to work with teenagers, elite dancers, musicians. I don't dance and I don't play any music, but I can get them in peak performance on stage. I've been doing that for 18 years. But I can see their psychology and their physiology. Half the time I don't know what I'm looking at, but it's just practice. Probably working for 10,000 performing artists. Again, they're working under pressure. The pressure of being judged. Trying to look perfect, and carry out their skills and their skills in front of thousands of people. So, I wanted to do a wee bit on fear. Of a time? Yep.
5 minutes, that's it.
Okay. I'll get John up to demonstrate. Give him a hard time. So if fear, when you talk about emotions, because you can't see them, it's like speaking about the wind. Even if you're speaking about the mind, people are like. So fear, if you make it subjective, if we call this fear for now. Yep. This is the wooden practice sword. So if that's fear, okay, and he's pushing me with that to move me about, so push me hard with it. Most people resist, especially if you have a background like rugby. Yeah? What we resist will persist, okay? It'll cause me discomfort. And that's what we do with fear. A lot of other things. I can resist it or I can avoid it, but it's always going to be there. If he's following me around with that, it's always going to be there. I'm not dealing with it. Okay? But if he pushes me, so push me right back with it. If I relax, yeah, and I don't focus on the fear, push me as hard as you can with it, keep going. Yeah? If I relax instead of tensing, yeah, I can deal with the origin of the fear. I can start to study where this fear is coming from, and then I can deal with it. But if I'm only focused on the emotion, and I run away from it, or I resist it, because what you resist will persist. Yeah? I accept it, okay, I welcome it, and then I study it. Only when you accept something, you relax on it, stop fighting it. And then I can study it, and then I can decide what to do with the origin of this. Okay? So once I get in, then I can. But again, I have to study, what is this? How is it causing this? Yeah? It's the same in martial arts or rugby. You learn how to study the kinetic chain, then I would study the nervous system, the weaknesses of the body. But it's just an analogy. It's the same thing. People spend their whole life believing that the fear is a reality, and they never face it, and it grows and grows, and it installs a belief that they're not a brave person, they're not confident, and that becomes a reality. And then they never ever reach their full potential. It suppresses all aspects of their life, when it's very easy to deal with it. At the end of the day, thank you, you can only feel one thing at once. And if I don't like what's in here, or if you don't like what's in there, you can change it. I can't feel hot and cold at the same time, more than I can feel happy and sad at the same time. I can't feel self-doubt and self-confidence at the same time. And neither can you. Just practice self-knowledge. Be on man how I work, and keep it on a simple level. The way when I'm working with adults, I work with them the same way I would work with a 10-year-old child. Keep it very simple, and you'll keep it, and you'll keep using it. So, thanks very much.
Well done, Sean.